Our next speaker is Ousama Fansa, CEO and board member of Roots Group. He will be making his way up to the stage as I introduce him. Ousama is currently the CEO and executive director of Roots Group Arabia. He joined the company in 1986 as a project engineer, and he worked his way up the company and was eventually appointed the CEO and as a member of the board in 2004. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm not a lecturer. I just came here to present facts and figures of my experience in the Middle East. I was born, brought up, and I was educated. I got my education and my career in the Middle East. So it's a long story. It started in 1962, the year when I was born. My first grandfather, when he saw me, he died. He passed away. My second grandfather, he was one of the industrialists, and he was a textile chairman and owner of a factory that was nationalized that year when I was born. So I became the curse of the family. So he was exiled as well. My presentation is to prove to you that this history of the Middle East is bad, but there is hope to continue. If you look at the history, in 1967, there was a war. I remember my father took me, it was in the night. They take me to the shelter, bomb shelter. My home city, Aleppo, was bombarded. So we were afraid, a bit afraid. In 1973, the Israeli-Arab war occurred. I was not in Syria at that year. I was in Lebanon. In 75, 78, I was in Lebanon during the war, civil war. We were displaced. I lost 1 year of my school because of the civil war. 1982, the Israeli invasion to Lebanon. I was in Beirut. I was under siege, and I was also displaced that year. We had a bad year also. In 1991, I was in Saudi Arabia, also the first Gulf War. I was in Riyadh at that year, and Scud missiles of Saddam were hitting Riyadh. I had to stay 2 days in the airport waiting for the plane to take me to Jeddah. In 2003, the Iraqi invasion, I was in Saudi Arabia. We were interrupted as well. In 2006, I was unfortunate that I was in Beirut that year. Then when the Israeli invasion to Beirut, I was displaced as well and moved out of Lebanon at that year. And now we are in the Arab Spring, what they call the Arab Spring. I call it the Arab chaos. So this is the Middle East. The Middle East is divided. Countries are divided. We still have a lot to go. The maps that we used to see is totally different now. So do we have hope? Yes, we have hope. I will be speaking about Roots, the company that I joined that was established in 1981. With all these wars and chaos that we had, it's still, we still have hope. When I graduated from university, American University in Beirut, 1986, I had to take a decision where to go. Everybody encouraged me to leave the Middle East, everybody. They said, go to moderate countries, no wars, no chaos. So I started thinking how to do it. I thought of the region. The oil prices were at $9, below 10. There was a boom in Saudi Arabia and the region in the 80s, and it was over. So everybody was demoralized, and there is no business to go. Uh, However, I was going out with my present wife. She was not my wife at that time, so she told me, either you stay with me in the region, or if you go to States or Australia, whatever, we'll split up. So I didn't think in my head, I thought in my heart, so I stayed in the Middle East. So I decided to stay. I went to Saudi Arabia, looked for a company to hire me. I knocked something like 20 companies. No one hired me, except Roots. Roots was always 17 employees at that year. I was number 18, maybe. The office was in a residential building, 200 square meters, 2 bedrooms, living room, and the dining room. The living and dining were the engineers and the draftsmen and so on. The master bedroom was for one of the owners, and the second bedroom was a conference room. They didn't have a table for me, so they put me in a kitchen. That was the kitchen. It was a complex for me. So with all these years that we'll see later, the best thing I did this year was to establish a proper kitchen for the staff, so as later somebody will join us in a kitchen. Now, the Roots Group. The Roots Group, I will brief you. This is when I started in '86, the company, we had the vision to be a building material company, a manufacturer, distributor, designer, and installer of building materials. So the journey starts. It's a Roots recipe. We started in the phase 1, which is anchoring the company into the ground with the distribution network. Then we went into manufacturing, expansion in manufacturing in the 90s to 2000. In the phase 3, we went into internationally. We went into more acquisitions, more regional, and we in the late years we are aiming to become a public listed company. So these phases that put Roots as a building material manufacturer, distributor, installer, and we became one of the largest in the region, if it is not the largest. I will give you some facts and figures. In sales, we crossed the $850 million last year. We will hit the $1 billion this year for the first year ever. In staff growth, I was in 15, I was number 18 at that time. This year, we are 7,200 employees across the region. Number of clients, in the beginning we were 200. Now we are almost 17,000 clients, regular customers that bought from us last year. Operating cities, we have presence in 24 cities today across the region, and we are aiming to add 2 cities more this year. This is an exponential growth. It has a reason. Besides being emotional about the product, besides being the right vision, the right product, and so on, we have the human factor. It's the most important part of our growth in the region. And this is unlike any other part of the world. I'll give you a story about our Egyptian staff. When the incident happened 2 years ago, and there was no police, no army in the street, they went and they carried the gun. They were in the warehouse that has $5-6 million of inventory. They had to protect it by their own hands. This is something you don't see it anywhere except in the Middle East. We have a committed staff that has overcome any obstacle that you have seen in the wars before. Anything happens, they do extra effort, extra mile from their capacity to make sure to overcome the obstacles we face. We have a growing population. The growing population means growing markets. The markets 10 years ago, 15 years ago, were half the size of today. So the Middle East has a unique formula because of the growth of the population. The most important also issue is that all the Middle Eastern companies, the large ones, are family-owned, and they don't have corporate structure. In our case, and many other corporate companies that have succeeded in the Middle East, they have, we made the effort to make it a corporate structure, less interference of family affairs. Steps to the future. We are going to become a public listed company. We are in the final stage of submitting to the CMA in Saudi Arabia to become a public listed company. We have no family interference in the company. It's a corporate structure. We have corporate governance. So the plan is to take the company from $1 billion with this year to $1 billion sterling in 2017, and we have a direct plan and realistic figures and acquisitions that we will do. Hopefully we'll achieve it and a bit more. One of the issues that we faced when we go public, we have submitted to the CMA in Saudi Arabia 2 years ago. We were stuck with changes in rules and regulations that they never announce. So just to brief you of this side issue, that taking the companies public is not easy in our region. Legal advisors don't exist. Expats are the good expats. They don't come to the region. The locals are very few who are good. So we had this issue, and it's a serious issue in the region. Financial advisors as well, the same issue. They're not well equipped to take companies public in the region. This is why, for all this, today in Saudi Arabia, you have only 160 companies which is public listed. This is really too low for Saudi Arabia of 24 million in population. Same as UAE, 160 companies are public listed. This is too low. The reasons are because the regulators are not good. They are not equipped. They don't have this level of vision to the future. My message is, with all these wars, we have to keep the faith in the Middle East. There's a big growth. There's a big potential. Our colleagues, our friends, they've talked about it. Don't lose the spirit. Life goes on. People are growing, and we have to continue living. Thank you very much. Any question?
Yes, thank you very much for this enlightening presentation. Can I ask you, with regard to keeping the loyalty and commitment of the staff, clearly this is a critical issue for companies all over the world, but probably it is particularly so in the case of the MENA region. It is not easy to keep the commitment and the attention and the loyalty of the staff. And from your presentation, it is clear that you have been able to have the commitment and loyalty of your staff. Can you tell us the factors behind that? I mean, do you have something like an incentive scheme or profit-sharing scheme or any other kind of arrangement by which you are able to keep the loyalty and the cooperation and the understanding of your employees?
In fact, when we select our management, we select them based on their personality, first of all. It's not through academic comes, as our friend said in the morning, it's 20-30%. The remaining should be personality, communication, and the background behind his way of living. When he joins, we select them for a period of time, and then we incentivize them by profit sharing, management profit sharing. And this is, we do it across all the operations we have. Oh, okay. Other question?
What's your outlook on the construction industry in the Middle East and the region itself?
As I showed you, we operate in all the cities, on most of the cities in the region. We operate in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, now Jordan. Plus we have a Malaysian operation, Chinese, and we have in UK. The construction industry today, except in UAE, it's good. I'm talking about remove Syria because it's a bad situation. Even in Egypt today, our business is not bad. Actually, we made 80% over last year, so it's okay. That was our figures show that we are exponentially growing. Okay.
With regards to staffing and so on, we've heard lots of comments about local talent, and how do you see that playing out in your business in the region? How many locals do you have in your team? Are they from the region? Is there a lot of movement from among the countries in the Middle East in your companies? Or do you have to hire expats, as you said, for some of the external services that you require?
We have low management, middle management, and top management are all regional. We have very few from Europe and States. In the staff, in the production and installation teams, they are usually in the region. They come from the Far East and India and Pakistan. So most of our management are regional. If you're talking about Saudi Arabia, we have Saudization something like 24% of our staff, which is very high in our industry.
I'm interested in your observation about, it seems like a fact coming from you, that nothing good is local in terms of professional services, lawyers, bankers, consultants. Can you elaborate more, and can you tell us what exactly is the challenge you face? They don't understand your requirement, they don't understand the culture, and why are you putting this boldly?
I'm telling you, I will tell you because of our experience. Legal advisors, let's talk about legal advisors. The good ones are based outside the region. They send their third or fourth level employees to the region. They are very bad. They don't know the culture. They give you wrong advices because they don't know the real story behind everything. And we don't have a proper government laws that are very clear. They are changing every day without notice. So when these guys come, they are bad. There are very few who are locals are good. I prefer really local companies that are good, but they are very rare. Same as financial institutions. Financial institutions also that, I'm not talking about banks, I'm talking about financial advisors. To take your company public, you need a financial advisor. Those financial advisors, they sit in Geneva or London, or they know nothing about the region. They give you advices that has nothing to do with the real thing that is happening in the market. It took us 2.5 years to reach what we are to go public, not because of us, because of our advisors they don't know nothing about what's going on.
Thank you for the nice presentation. Just a question on the limiting the family interference in the business. How were other family members receptive to that?
When the partners of Root, they are multi-partners. When they decide to go to take a decision to lead the company as corporate structure, everybody should adopt this policy. So we have no problem with that. I think many companies in the region has adopted this policy and became a corporate structure. And this is why you see not only Roots, you see now Petrofac, you see Safola, you see many other successful operations. Root is not the only one. There's a lot of successful operations that has been managed by corporate structure. And there is, by the way, there are family businesses in Saudi that are dominated by the family. And there's a big conferences about this subject. They have to get out, especially the big structures that are managed by a family, they have to get out of this family interference business. They have to put corporate structure, the accountable management to manage the operations. تفضل.
If you are so successful, why do you want to go public?
We have to raise capital to take the company not to $1.5 billion, to $2.5 billion. So we are going for acquisitions, and we have a plan for that. Thank you very much. Thanks.